All right. Let's see here. All right. I think we're live. Make sure it sounds okay. I'll get this headphone out. Hope everybody can hear me. I do have a fan going and the window open because it is hot in Chicago, but tonight it's finally cooling down enough that the windows open are good instead of the AC. AC is way too loud, so, you know, first world problems and all that. Hope everybody's doing well. It's been a minute since I've been on here. A couple weeks. I've been very busy getting Eris ready for print, and I have the file at the printer now. Caught some last minute changes last week, and really just trying to get that all set and ready to go. So if you are waiting for Eris, we will be hopefully printing soon. Hi, Pepsi Cola. Yeah, printing pretty soon. I'm really excited about it. Everything's looking really great on it. And so yeah, I've been doing that. Been finishing up this mini comic that I've been working on and getting ready for cake. And then of course my kid is out of school, so I've been busy kind of taking care of her and stuff. But it's been a good time. I'm sure a lot of you folks were probably at Heroes this last week. I hope that went well. Tonight what we're going to do is we're going to look at some of the tools that I use in my studio. And we're also going to look at my new book that I'm going to have at Cake. And so we're also going to talk about Cake. So my new book that I'm going to have at Cake is called Prophets of Disclosure. This is the cover sheet. I haven't put them together yet. I still have a lot to do before the show, but hey, I'll get it done. Yeah, so anyway, so I'll show off a little bit of this and kind of talk about what I'll be doing at Cake, and then I might spend a little bit of time tightening up this last drawing I'm doing for the zine right here of my pal David Wilcock, everyone's favorite UFO grifter. So first, thanks Pepsi Cola for the congrats there, I appreciate that. So first I was going to show some of the tools I have in my studio. A lot of times people ask about pens and stuff, and I'm always happy to show my pens, and I'll probably show some tonight, but I was thinking today as I was getting things together and cutting things and sort of packing things, that there's all these other tools I have in the studio that I don't really talk about, and I think a lot of artists have tools like that they're not like the cool, sexy ones to talk about, like what kind of Winsor Newton brush you have or whatever, but some other necessary tools. And so I was just thinking, like, why don't I show some of the things that I have around that I use often, or maybe I don't use them often, but why do I have them? So first I was going to start off with showing, just some of the pens really quick to get that out of the way. This is the Pentel brush pen. I think I've had 3 of these in the last 10 to 15 years. They're really great. Sometimes you'll get a dud, and so I feel like I've had 2 good ones and one that was kind of a dud. The duds are, few and far between from what I've seen just from discussing with other people, and they're still usable, but sometimes the tip is just so much better on these other ones. They're refillable with cartridges. You can buy the cartridges or kind of ghetto kind of refill. I guess I shouldn't say ghetto. You can kind of DIY refill the cartridges yourself. I don't do that because I'm lazy. But the tip is really the thing on these. The variants you get with the tip. It's really an amazing tool. I really fought against them because I was a very traditional brush guy, but this is as good as most of the brushes that I could afford, and it's like a $14 pen that you can use for a long time. And then I keep one of the old ones over here that sometimes when I'm just trying to get like a dry brush effect, it's just an old one that doesn't have ink in it, and I just use the brush tip for it. So sometimes I hang on to things like that. So that's one of my primary tools. The other one would be the Tombow pen. These come in and out by Fudensuke. And then this is the Zebra brush pen. I think this is the fine and also the fine of the Tombow, if I'm not mistaken. So these kind of have a brush tip, but it is a lot more firmer than it is on the Pentel. The Tombow is a lot of fun to draw with. It doesn't have the line fidelity I think that the Zebra does, the zebra, whatever you want to call it. And then I've got an assortment of microns. I was talking to somebody too, so maybe I'll get into this, about just which microns they use. And it was all the opposite of what I had. So here's the ones I have on my desk right now. Well, here, I'll pull this one out too. I haven't even used this one yet. I have a .005, but I've not used that one yet. I bought it for commissions and stuff because you can't really use it for print because it doesn't show. And then I have a number 1, a number 10, a number 8, and a number 2. I would say I use the number 2 and the number 8 for drawing stuff, like, you know, when I'm drawing things within the panels. I use the 10 mostly for panel borders or fill-ins around letters. And then the 01 is really just for fine-tuning stuff. Honestly, I do a lot of what I would do with the 01 with an 02. And then I was talking to my buddy, and he was like, "Oh, I have an 01 and an 03." And then like he had like a 12 or something like that. Kova's Lookout, yo, what's up? Hey, thanks for coming. Pepsi, you're a riot tonight. I appreciate your comments. Okay, so I do have ink, like regular ink. Well, this is empty. That's empty. I do have regular ink over here as well, and then I have Pro White, the Dollar Rowney Pro White. I love this stuff, and you can thin it out if you want. You can let it dry and get thicker, you know, to change the way it behaves with your brush. And I do a lot of that with just a little. What is this? A Scepter Gold number 00, I think. And you can see that tip's not even perfect, but give it a lick there, and you got a nice point. And I can get a lot of nice little details in there because I work white back into my work a lot. And I have a couple other brushes. Like I use this one for black ink sometime. This is a Princeton round 0. And then this is another Scepter Gold 2. This is for my red ink, and this is for my black ink. But I honestly don't use those quite as much. I have a little correction pen, a Uniball Sino Broad. These are great. This is a Muji pen from the Muji store. These are awesome. These are so cool. They're kind of more like a ballpoint pen in the operation. And my wife just bought me a few of these when she was at the Muji store because she likes to go there for other things. And I was like, dang, these are really nice pens. They're really fun to draw with. This is one of my go-to sketchbook pens. But the last time she bought them for me, she got blues because they didn't have any blacks. And I prefer to draw with the black ones. I've got a selection of just like random pens that I buy when I go to the store. And sometimes I'll use these for accents on things or just when I'm playing around with color. I've got maybe 10 or 15 of those over here. And then I have a few gray tone pens, and I think I mixed my caps up on these, unfortunately. These are just by Tombow as well, and they have a fine point marker and then a brush pen end, and so they're really fun to draw with. You can do some really cool effects. And then when I do traditional inking, I'm usually using this. This is like a, what's it called? A Tachikawa holder. And that's probably a G-nib on there or something like that. And then this is my favorite nib, which I really miss inking with. I haven't been doing much with it. This is like a pen holder that I put a bunch of tape on so it's a little fatter. And this is a Falcon 48 nib. And those are really amazing. They don't make them anymore, but you can find them still. And then another thing that's pretty key is I have a bunch of just brushes that are just like old brushes that I use for splatters or dry brushing or just like dab effects, just like random brushes. I've got maybe like 3 or 4 of those over here. And then of course I have some toothbrushes for splatter effects. Obviously this one I use for my black ink, this one I use for my white, and I have another one over here for my red. That one looks pretty gnarly. Here's my red one. Also up here I have a parallel pen, which I need to get another one of these. This one's kind of, I don't use it enough lately. But what it does is you can do sort of like calligraphy with it. It's like a calligraphy kind of tool. You can see this one's kind of not working great right now, but it's pretty fun if you're doing like old, English calligraphy kind of stuff. These are really cool. And they're refillable as well via cartridge, kind of like the Pentel. Oh, this little brush is cool. This one I just chopped up with a scissors, just kind of like gave it some texture so that it would, I can do kind of weird kind of textured contour lines, or I can flick it, to get finer finer like splatters. Here's a compass. I don't have like an ink one. I usually just, when I'm drawing circles, I'll get to this in a minute. I have circle guides, and then I have the compass. And then if I'm using the compass, if it's a big circle, I'll just do the inks freehand. I won't use like a tool for that. And then I got couple bone folders. These are great. Not only are these awesome when you're assembling books, like if you print your own books, but these are really great for when I'm doing screen tones, rubbing them down and kind of making sure they're on the paper. You can also pre-score folds, and these are just like really cool tools, and they're very satisfying. Like if you're a tactile person, these are like, ooh yeah, they feel good, I have a timer up here, so sometimes I try to make myself take breaks every such and such minutes. I've been bad about that this week, and so I'll set a timer here, and 20 minutes, 30 minutes, get up and stretch. What you can't see all the way up here is there's a note from my daughter, a rainbow. It says, "I love you." So that's up there. Erasers, I have 4 kinds right now. Generally, I'm a fan of the Stettler Mars plastic ones. This has been my go-to eraser for ages. Really a great tool. But recently I discovered this Sumo Grip, and man, oh man, I might like it more than the Stettler Mars. And they make a little metal holder for them, which I think I'm going to pick up next time I do an order, because this is a great eraser, and it's not only does it erase really well, but I feel like even though it's small, it's been lasting forever. So I'm really into those. I got this little mono smart eraser too. It's a Tombow, and it's just kind of thinner, so sometimes when I'm doing a drawing, I'll kind of work back into it like I'm drawing, and so it's nice to have that thinness, which is why I also have a clicker eraser. So I'm really into erasing and whiting things out, if you haven't noticed. This is a sand eraser, which can remove ink kind of, or like sort of remove it, but what I use it for is to rub on the if you rub on screen tones, it rubs them off in sort of a smooth fashion rather than the hardness of when I'd use a X-Acto knife. Picked that up. Who was Jacob? Jacob told me that. I'm spacing on his name. Jacob told me that though. Been a great tool. Darn it. Let's see. Did I miss something here in the old chat? Well, anyway, okay. Kova, dope. Loving to see the tools you use. I use the Tombows and the Copic multi-lines. Those are great too. I do have a Copic multi-liner here, and I picked this up last time I was there because I've been on kind of a Micron thing for a minute. Before that I was on a Stettler Mars thing, and now I'm thinking I might need to get on this this Copic thing because those are really nice. Yeah, I use Procreate as well. Michael T, hello, and others. Very excited for the Eris book. Thanks, Michael. It's at the printer right now, and I am so excited to kind of get everything signed off on and on the way. So other tools over here, I have an X-Acto blade. Oh, hey, look at that. There's one of those Stettler Mars pens I was just talking about. Number 3. These are great. They feel a little drier to me, though. I think it might depend on what paper you're working on, which one of those pens is going to be best for you. Because when I started working on the 500 series Strathmore, certain pens didn't feel as good as they had on other kinds that I got. Here's my X-Acto knife. I don't know how long I've had this. A long, long time. A very long time. An extremely long time. Okay, and so then I have these 2 drawers right here under my desk, and maybe I can, let me see if I can just pull this out and show you what's in here. Will that be rad or what? Let's see. Let's see. Kova's looking at running my first Kickstarter here, July 10th for my new comic. Hey, congrats! Any tips or advice? Well, congrats on that. That's awesome. You know, just kind of getting out there and putting your stuff out is so important. So congratulations on taking that plunge if you hadn't done it before with a crowdfunding kind of thing. My advice is expect to be busy and thinking about it for the entire span of how long you're running it. So if you're doing 30 days, you're going to be thinking about it for 30 days. And if you are, you know, the kind of person who can get organized and create a really tight budget of what you're doing exactly so that you can ask for the exact right amount of money, that's going to help you out a lot too. I think I've seen a lot of people not really get into the details of how they're going to, say, pack their orders, like what kind of bags they're going to use or how much the mailing is going to cost, or you know, oh, I got to, you know, put them in these different kinds of bags, or, you know, those kind of things are going to come up. And if you plan for those, you can ask for the right amount of money. The other thing is to remember that they take a big cut of the money that you make, and so make sure you're accounting for that. So don't make it that if you just meet, so if you need $6,000, don't make your goal $6,000. Make it like $7,000, because that'll mitigate some of that issue. And then the other thing that has worked for me is try to do at least one or two cross promotions, you know, with another Kickstarter that's running at the same time as yours. Those tend to actually be pretty fruitful. Yeah, those are some bits of advice. Maybe I should do a whole special Kickstarter talk at some point. Here's a bunch of just pens I haven't used yet. You can see Microns, Zebras, just from my last order. I've also got a bunch of Posca pens. I really fell in love with these. I use them on commissions a lot. I use them to do remarks, and I love the pink colors. And you know, I have an interest in graffiti, and I kind of dabble in doing letters and stuff, and these are just so fun to work with. So I've got a bunch of these. And there's a bunch down there that aren't even unwrapped. So you can preview to anyone who's waiting on a commission right now. You're probably going to get some pink and black and white on there because these are just hungry to be used. I've got a few Prismacolors and a couple Olo samples here of just other markers. Old pens that I sometimes pull out to get different effects. So the tape is like an indicator that I've used them already. Gotta have a king size Sharpie always. Gotta have a king size Sharpie always. Refills for the Pentel. Erasers. I mean, I have just a bunch down here so that I don't ever have to worry about running out in the middle of something. Deleter samples. These are things all in this drawer down here. More erasers. I have this is drawing gum, which is kind of like a masking liquid. I use this sometimes, or at least I used to. This one's kind of old, but you kind of paint it on, and then you can sort of work over the top of it and then peel that off or erase it off. And it works pretty good. But lately I've been trying to use Frisket a little bit more, depending on the detail I need to get. And the Frisket is a little bit more fun to work with and easy to work with, although both have their ups and downs. Worth a try if you're interested in getting into that kind of thing. I think I got this for free somewhere. This Tombow was at like a show or something. There's a sample. Another Posca pen. So that drawer's a lot of that kind of stuff. It's like pens I'm, you know, using. On the second drawer, I've got tape. This is like paper tape, you know, like artist tape, and I use this to mask things off when I'm working, or just to tape up stuff on the desk, or, you know, when I'm tracing, you know, like a drawing onto another drawing, like taping that down or doing transfers. I use this a lot, actually. I've always got like a couple rolls on hand because I'm using tape a lot. I've got X-Acto blades, which I'm almost out of. More Pro White, or this is an old Pro White. Another ink. This is just a Winsor Newton if I wanted to thin it out. Bulldog clips. More X-Acto knives. These are all just picked up from ages. This box right here of X-Acto knives I've had for, I don't know, since 2000, 2001, and it's almost gone. It's almost gone. I got it for like $2 at this place called the Creative Reuse Warehouse in Chicago, where you could go buy just like old stuff from stores that closed or that had been thrown in the garbage. They would organize it all, and you could buy it. It was pretty wild. I got an ISO band here. This is for like kind of, you know, every now and again you got to sort of do some stretches, or, you know, some. It's not really a difficult exercise, but it kind of makes your chest and your back move a little bit. I need to start remembering to do this more often. It feels good. There's some eraser refills for the clicker. This is my travel pen case, so I keep that down here when I'm going to do stuff somewhere. I'll grab this, pack it full of things, and then lots of extra lead. Man, I am stocked up right now, dude. I must have done an order not too long ago. And there's some refills for the parallel pen down there. I should probably refill it and see if that makes it work better. Yeah, you can hear my neighbors out here. So that's like just the stuff that's on the desk, right? But I've got tons of things in these drawers over here, and one thing right to the side here, I have a little table here, or a shelf. And over here is where I keep things like scrap paper, or, you know, sketches like this, you know, things that I was like, I'm sketching, and, you know, throw it over here. And, you know, things like that, my carbon copy paper over here. Well, so you guys know what carbon copy paper is? It's like a paper that you put it under a drawing, and when you trace over it, it leaves the mark there. So it's kind of awesome, and I use it all the time. Like, I don't know how people, you know, I mean, if you're working digitally, you can just do this easily, but this kind of makes it, even in you know, drawing on paper physically, this is it's like a really good tool. This one's kind of been put through it. You can see, I don't know if you can tell, but there's like little lines you can see. So I have like 500 sheets of this or something. It was like at $5 or something for that. And then I have a drawer over here that has rubber or latex gloves when I'm getting messy, and then it has circle guides, a bunch of circle guides. And there's also some shape guides down here, and some of those other things I was showing off last week. Spare ink for my printer. Gotta have spare ink on hand. What else is down here? Some photographs. Here, check this out. Hopefully these are all appropriate. Check that out. Oh my gosh, I didn't even know that was down there. This is this is check this out, guys. Look at that. So this is the first time I met Dan. Was at Wizard World in like 2012, and he had, the only thing he had on his table was like a portfolio and like this card for his webcomic Space Mullet, and it says spacemullet.com, and it's got some cool drawings here, created by Daniel Warren, an artistic guerrilla production, danielwarrenart.com. So Dan was going by Daniel Warren for a brief moment, and I think it's because there was already a Daniel Johnson, or like there's the singer Daniel Johnson that kind of sounds that way, and I think and then he eventually went with Daniel Warren Johnson. But this was the first thing I ever saw from him that, you know, was a drawing by him, and then I went to the webcomic, and I was like, this is pretty cool, man. This is like a Simon Roy comic with more action, and it was really fun. That's hilarious. I didn't realize that was on the back of this here. These are photos from when I went to Italy. So when I saw Lacan and his sons, and oh my god, the Transfiguration. Some Bernini stuff. That was my wedding. More sculptures, Bernini. Look at this. Oh my gosh. So I keep these down here, just like, you know, sometimes you find cool reference when you're just kind of goofing off in your drawer. Let's see. Kova's looking at running my. Oh, we got that. Thanks for the tips. Kova says, Michael T. Whole Kickstarter talk would be cool. Okay, maybe I'll do that. Dan Johnson, I think, does cover art and did a Batman run back in the day. That's hilarious, man. Okay. And then I have these little, like these little cups that I use when I'm doing like water stuff, watercolor or thinning out ink or whatever. All right, and then 2 more drawers. One of them has a pencil sharpener and markers in it, and then the other one, will fall on your face. It's all my convention, stuff. Square reader, business cards, that kind of thing. And then of course I have these rulers here. I have about 5 other rulers in the windowsill over there, but these are the 2 I use the most. I use this one when I'm cutting things because it's metal, and I use this one a lot of the time because it has a beveled edge here, and it's see-through, so you can line things up against panel borders and stuff. So it makes drawing panel borders easier. I just will do one side, and then you just line up with the line in here, and it's square. You can use it. This one's kind of getting rubbed off, but so yeah, there's some of my tools. Okay, so let's take a second here. And Actual Dracula says, "Good evening. Good evening to you as well." And we're gonna look at I'm gonna show a couple samples here of my new comic, or it's not even really a comic. It's more like a zine. It's called Prophets of Disclosure. This is the cover spread. It's going to get folded. This will be the back cover. And I've mentioned before that I'm really into alien conspiracy theory personalities and listening to people talk about that kind of stuff. And I follow it kind of a lot while I'm working. And the community of the ufology is sort of filled with a lot of interesting characters that I just felt compelled to make a book about. And so what it is it's sort of like a guide to different figures within this community of disclosure, which is kind of a community. It's the part of ufology that it wants to see. It thinks the government has secret information about UFOs, and they want it released. And so what I did is I did some drawings of the different people, and then I will each page will be accompanied by sort of a rundown of what like my overview of what they are, a very biased overview of what they're about, and some fun facts and stuff about them. So let's see, I'll show maybe 1 or 2 more here. So it's kind of a fun project just for me, and I thought it'd be nice to do something just for Cake. I was really happy with how this one came out. And I did all these like in like a week, on top of everything else I was doing. So it's another thing, kind of like the Inktober challenge, that makes me step out of my comfort zone. I can't be too precious with the drawings, just kind of let them come out. And then I've spent way too long working on all the writing for all this stuff. So, oh, what the heck? I'll show you one more. Here's Stephen Greer, the Muscle Daddy Disclosure Man. So the way the project kind of started was just an idea in my head, and so I start taking notes on my phone and stuff. But then also I'll just be scribbling down ideas, on paper by my drawing table. And so kind of in the background, while I was working on, let's see here, Colton, hey Tyrell, excited to see this new zine comic. Thanks, man. Actual Dracula, same here. Oh, cool. Abduct me, please. All right. Kova's Lookout. That's dope. So anyway, I'm glad you guys are excited about it, because it's one of those things that I'm into, and I don't know if anybody else cares. And I was like, you know what? Why don't I just cast this out here and see if this catches anyone else's interest? So I started writing down different ideas and stuff on my phone and in my notebooks. And when this started, I had been listening to some of these guys for a while. One guy in particular, David Wilcock, which is the guy I'm going to be drawing tonight. And I did a sketch of him a long time ago while I was waiting for my daughter to get done with some stuff. And I was like, what if I did a book about all these guys, these goofballs that I listen to? And so, a bunch of time passed, and here's some letters I was messing with. A bunch of time passed, and then I started thinking, well, why don't I... This is just a sketchbook I've been goofing off in. Why don't I go ahead and work on this? And so I started writing all their names out, like kind of figuring out letters maybe that I would use for them, and started thinking about what I would be doing with their names as like a logo for them or something. And so then I started taking all those and thinking, okay, well, why don't I just start making a mock-up? So the next thing I did was I made a little mock-up of what the book could look like, and sort of said, well, here's where I'll have the different people and kind of some examples of what I want it to look like. Kova's Lookout says, you got the Ancient Aliens guy? Sort of. I have a lot of these guys have appeared on Ancient Aliens, which I made a little icon, to let people know who's appeared on Ancient Aliens and who hasn't. And so a lot of these guys have been featured on Ancient Aliens. I ended up, when I did the cover, I ended up going ahead and deciding, this will be volume 1. And so if people are interested, because it barely scratches the surface, in my opinion. And so I made it volume 1, and I figured if people dig this, maybe I'll do another one and include more people. Because I've only included a small number of people in this, because it's all I could have the time for. But, if I could do more, there's so many more people I'd love to talk about, because the community is just stacked with interesting, strange people. And then on that note, while I was thinking about what the book would look like, I thought it should look sort of heavy metal a little bit, and sort of like a heavy metal album or something. And so I kind of just started goofing off and made this logo, and then have this light beam coming down from a pyramid type thing. And then I used some transfers. I think I did on the stream last week. That transfer white ink onto the paper to do the logo here, or my name here. So yeah. So anyway, from there I started deciding what kind of content I was going to have in it, and that's when I came up with a little scale that rates people of whether they're a true believer or a grifter. And so I drew this little thing. I came up with a little thing about if they've been on Ancient Aliens or if they're a government operative. And from there, it was just drawing all the different, people. And it's been really fun, and it's been a challenge, because today I got to finish this last guy. I have to finish him today because I'm printing stuff tomorrow. And I'm like, oh my gosh, man, this is, it reminds me of when I had my day job, and all my time for making comics was after work every day. And so it's like that now. After work every day, I'm trying to do this little zine for myself. And it's sort of a good feeling, even though it's very stressful. So the plan is to have it at Cake this weekend. So Cake is the Chicago Alternative Comics Expo. It's a great show. I used to be an organizer for it. I will be there this year. It's at the Irish American Heritage Museum here in Albany Park area. And I hope you guys can make it out, because it's the first place you'll be able to get this book. If I have any left after the show, I will be selling them first to people subscribed to my newsletter. So if you haven't subscribed to the newsletter, do that. If you haven't subscribed to the channel or liked my videos, you could do that too. That would be really cool. I would really appreciate it. Cake is an amazing show, though. We'll have a lot of good guests there. People like my buddy Malachi Ward is one of the special guests. I'll be tabling right next to Eddie Campbell, who drew From Hell. It's going to be a really good time if you guys can make it out. Brent BMC Comics says, hi, Tyrell. Hello to you as well. And P. Cola says, appreciate the interesting, eclectic characters. Yeah, thank you for that. All right, so let's, we're going to try to finish up David. Oh, you know what I should have also mentioned in my studio tour? I have a printer right next to the computer, this computer that I'm pointing at right now, which is just a tabletop iMac. I hate laptops. Call me old, whatever. And then over here I have an Epson Workforce WF7820. I used to have a 7620, I think it was, or 7640, and it finally bit the dust this year, so I have that now. And then I also have an iPad over there. It is the smallest one. And scissors, X-Acto blades, and packing supplies on a shelf right over here with some manga at the top of it, and some easy-to-grab stock of my work. So things like books that I have on my website for sale, and stickers and things like that, and packing stuff. And then a bunch of portfolios. Maybe one day I'll pull out portfolios and show them off. I've got, just anything I've drawn in those portfolios from the last 10 years. So it could be cool to go through Colton Stratham, wish I could make it out to Cake, but I'll keep an eye for the newsletter announcement. Well, thank you, Colton. Let's see if we can wrap up this David Wilcock really quick. And if there's anything else you guys are interested in hearing about the studio or alien people, let me know. Because I'm not sure if I'll finish him or not, but we're going to try because I really need to. So David is my favorite UFO weirdo. I've been following his content for quite a while. He's a strange guy. He has been on Ancient Aliens. He has talked about how the world was going to end in 2012. He thought he was the reincarnation of Edgar Cayce, who was a sort of a psychic healer from the 1930s, I think it was. He's had quite a few different twists and turns in his journey. And he streams pretty much every week on YouTube, and his streams go between 4 and 5 hours regularly when he does stream. And they are a roller coaster ride, let me tell you. They're good for when you're drawing, because he just talks the most insane things for 3 hours, and he does characters that he thinks are funny, and he really gets engaged in angry fights with his chat when they call him out on things. He's an interesting guy. He's been around the UFO community for a while. I discovered him on there's this network called Gaia that came out back in, what was it, probably like 2016, and I saw this show called Cosmic Disclosure, and it had this goofy kind of aliens drawn on it, and I was like, well, I gotta watch this. And it featured David and Corey Good, and it was a pretty incredible television series. It was just them talking about all these UFO things and secret space programs and stuff, and I was hooked. It was my best friend when I was working. I would turn it on and enjoy it, and that kind of led me to discovering a lot more of these people that I either had been sort of just peripherally aware of or not aware of at all, that are in this UFO disclosure community. And they're kind of easy for me to listen to because I don't really have to listen too hard. And like I said, they do these crazy long streams, and so when you're sitting at the desk for 4 hours and you're just like, I don't know what I want to listen to right now, I don't know what I want, just turn this on, and it'd fill your brain with worms for sure. But hey, my brain is pretty resilient. And that's not to say that believing in UFOs on some level is crazy or anything like that. I'm definitely open to that idea, but it's the focus of the book that I'm doing here is more about these personalities, right? Not necessarily about whether any of what they're saying is true or plausible to me. I guess it's like anything else. There's this sort of dramas that happen within whatever a field of interests or whatever, a sport or any other kind of thing that has celebrities within it. Actual Dracula, does Wilcox still think he's the reincarnation of Edgar Cayce? Yeah, sort of. He kind of shied away from it for a little while, but then lately he's been talking about how he's been communicating with the Archangel Michael, and he's also maybe the reincarnation of Ra as well. And so I think that since he added some more reincarnations to the list, he thought, well, why not just bring Edgar Cayce back into the fold? So he has mentioned it more lately than he had been. He sort of shied away from it from around 2017 to, I don't know, 2022. It's scary that I even can think that through it that accurately. Cova's Lookout. I remember watching The Fourth Kind when I was younger, and it scared the bleep out of me. Yeah, man, that's pretty creepy. Do you watch the Y-Files, Tyrell? I have watched the Y-Files. Yeah, for sure. Pretty cool. Little I guess you channel, I guess you call it. Yeah, man, for sure. It's not, I'm not subscribed, but I have watched some of the videos. Maybe I should go rediscover it. It's been a minute since I've checked it out. If you guys do go watch a David stream, like I said, he streams every week. I mean, a lot of it is just nonsense. You know, it's just like, but he always starts the stream talking about how he's dressed and how he has these jackets he calls his sizzle jackets, which are usually sparkly, and he will almost immediately go into some sort of impersonation, or not impersonation, but one of these characters that he does. He does all these characters that he thinks are kind of comedic, but they're kind of terrible. They're all the same sort of idea. It's either a British accent or a New York Jewish, old, typical stereotypical accent, and they all have cigarettes in their mouths. And he's he's doing these impersonations and speaking about all the different kind of topics that are coming up in the show and stuff. One of them is called Angry Daddy, and it is based on his own dad. And the things that Angry Daddy says, you can tell are probably real things David's dad has said to him, which is sort of interesting and sad and weird. But that's David. He's an interesting guy. I wish him the best, but he's sort of his own worst enemy. He spends all of his money. He's getting scammed by an aerospace company. He's in debt to the IRS. David's having a hard time. But again, all self-inflicted. I was bummed I couldn't be at Heroes this year. It was a tough decision, but I wasn't given an invite, and then I was like, well, I have a lot of other things on the calendar this year personally, and so decided to sit it out. But it looks like everybody had a really good time. At least I hope everybody did. I was bummed that I couldn't go because there was some people there I hadn't met that I would love to meet, like Mike Spicer, who I've worked with but never met in person, and Trad Moore was going to be there, and he had a cool little book I wanted to get. So it's all good though. I had to stay, had to work, got some things to do to sort out. But we're going to give David's hair a little embellishment here. His hairline has been receding and his forehead growing for quite some time now. Happens to the best of us, David, but he's had a hard time admitting it. I think David believes a lot of the things he says. And some of these guys, I don't think they do. But I think David does. And that's kind of what's crazy about it. David had some huge fake teeth put in at some point. And a lot of times when I was drawing the schlub, Ryan Stegman was always like, no, make the teeth bigger. Like, Roger's teeth have to be like, like big, giant fake teeth. And David got those, and I just couldn't stop thinking about it. It was like happening incongruent with it. Kova says, Heroes was fun. My favorite show. That's great. You met Mike and Trad, both cool guys. That's really cool. Stood in the Daniel Warren Johnson line for a good hour and a half. But def work at Dan is a great guy. Dan is a great guy. He's a good person. And a lot of people that achieve success are not necessarily good people after that. So let's hope that Dan keeps his goodness forever. He's a great guy. As I mentioned on my last stream, I am doing my my first collaboration with him. It's crazy. I've known him. We've never collaborated. But we're doing a Fantastic Four story that's coming out in, what is it, August? And so just finished that up. Really excited about that. Really excited about that. I think everyone is going to like it. It's really fun. It feels very Dan. It feels very me. So I think it's a good, sort of a good representation of what we're about. And on that story, we have colors by Inaki. I'm probably going to butcher your name, Inaki. I'm sorry. Inaki Apizu? I'm not sure if I'm saying it right. Inaki colored me on, when I did the cover for Dan and Riley's book, The Moon is Following Us. Inaki colored that and did a great job. And so we got him on the Fantastic Four story as well. And I don't know if that had been shared last time I was on here. And he did a great job. He actually just turned in the colors this week, I think, and they turned out really awesome. Can't wait for you guys to see it. It's gonna be epic. But that's cool that you got to hang out and see Dan and Trad and Mike. It's very cool. You know, comic shows are so cool because you can just go talk to people that whose work you respect, and it's not weird, you know? It's just, it can be normal. I mean, sometimes it's weird. Depending on who you're trying to talk to. Some of those guys are weird, but a lot of times they're really cool, and I think that's pretty great. So if you do come to Cake this weekend, any y'all, I mean, definitely come say hi to me. Let me know if you've tuned into the stream before, because I really appreciate it. I'll give you a little extra something, you know. But yeah, this is coming along okay. I was kind of worried about it for a minute, but I think I'm getting it. Brent BMC Comics says he's so hyped. That's good, man. That's good. David's my favorite of these guys, like I was saying, but it's funny, I completely forgot to draw him until today. I was like, oh, I didn't draw David yet. And so we are remedying that right now. The old Pentel. This would be a David Sizzle jacket here. So the angel wings, because he's the Archangel Michael, you know, or he's in contact with him. He always has a guitar back here because David is also a musician. If you like music but hate yourself, you should go listen to David's music because it is quite special. David recorded an album called Wanderer Awakening, which features kind of a soft rock vibe where he sings and does sort of spoken word that are a conversation with himself and I guess his higher self, or the Archangel Michael maybe, and about his purpose in life and how he'll meet a woman and all these kinds of things. You can't really get the whole album anywhere, but as of earlier this year, a lot of the tracks are on YouTube. So if you typed in David Wilcock Wanderer Awakening, you'd probably find some. And I might have to listen to some later because they are really special songs. So we're just kind of fleshing out these wings a little bit here. I don't want to overdo it though, so we're going to keep them kind of loose. And then we got an alien over here because, you know, aliens. Although he doesn't talk as much about the gray aliens that look sort of like this as other people do. He has some explanations for them being like, I don't know, like androids or something like that. I can't remember. Kova's looking at, yeah, some of the creators can be awkward, or they make everything somewhat transactional. Yeah, that's true. That's true. Well, I try to be nice when I'm at a show. I'm not always, sometimes you're having a bad day or whatever, but yeah, I mean, the way I see it is I'm just happy someone's there and wants to check out what I'm doing. After all these years of the ups and downs of it, man, I mean, I'm just happy people want to come over and look at it, Like, what am I expecting, right? Like, what do I deserve? Just a guy making comics. I think people feel privileged sometimes when on that side of the table. I had a couple experiences like that with creators, which was kind of a big letdown. But we get those reality checks at different points in life where it's like, hey, all those people you think are cool, they're not all cool. So you know what they say. Sometimes they say never meet your heroes. But in comics, I've had pretty good luck. I would say 90% of the time it's been very pleasant when I meet other people. So I got a turkey on here because David claims that he can communicate telepathically with the turkeys that live behind his house, because he lives in the mountains in Colorado. And so I put a turkey on here because he regularly communicates with this flock of turkeys, which is illegal in Colorado. You're not supposed to interact with the wildlife, but he does. He does. Because he's helping them. He said that he's helping them reach a higher density, I believe. So he's going to help them ascend to the level of where we're at, humans are at, which is, I think, 4th density. David, he loves animals. He loves animals. I also have his dead dog on here that he let sort of die slowly because he wouldn't take it to the vet, but her name was Girly. So I thought, David's probably going to be haunted by the ghost of Girly. So we'll put her on here. I think she was a German Shepherd. I can't remember exactly. So we're going to do like a cartoon dog. And she's got X's for eyes, because that, she's dead. Got a little texture here or something. Maybe like, yeah, there we go. All right. So I think we're about ready to get some pens out. Put the brush pen away. Sounds like we got some rain out there. Thank the Lord. The wings are looking hot. All right. Scoot Starnes. Hey, Tyrell. Hello, Scoot. Kova says, we met at Heroes last year. You're super dope, and you gave me some good advice on my artwork. Well, Kova, I'm really glad that we had a good interaction. And I appreciate you coming by and even talking to me at all. I truly do. It's a privilege to be able to make work and have people actually show up and care about it. All right. Here's David. Let's pull out the zebra here. The zebra. I don't know. How do you guys say it? I say zebra usually. Remember when you could just say it wrong and like it was just your accent? There's his guitar. Yeah, I think David is his own worst enemy. I think he has some issues that he should probably get some help with. I think he's very gullible. I think he believes things very easily, especially things about UFOs or, things he's interested in. Anything that confirms ideas he already has in his head, which, hey, a lot of us have that problem, right? But David's got it to a different extent. is. What a goober. I thought about making him a little bit heavier, but I still think he reads as a thin guy, even though he has put on some weight this year. So if you go to his stream, he might not look exactly like this. But this is David as I see him and remember him, right? Or at least the best I can do. Pepsi Cola says, when we met, you took my lunch money and escaped into a spaceship. Well, you know, I do that sometimes. I'm trying to decide how I want to do the coat. I want it to look kind of sequiny. But I don't want to overdo it, you know? Some kind of pattern, maybe. Just firming up some of those lines. That pop a little more. He always has this fake cigarette. I don't know if you guys have seen these fake cigarettes that you like blow in them and it lets off puffs of smoke. And he thinks it's the coolest prop ever. Okay, Michael Prophecies. So his newest books are called the Michael Prophecies, and they are nonsense, but they're about how he is in communication with the Archangel Michael. Oh, my neighbors are loud out here, aren't they? Okay, David. Oh, and the other thing is when he does his live streams, he makes so much money on super chats, it's disgusting. And so here's the thing. This guy might seem kind of niche and like a lot of people probably haven't heard of him. He's got, when he live streams, he gets between 4,000 and 6,000 people watching just during the live stream. That's not counting replays and stuff. So he's got quite a following. And I think some of them follow him like I do, where it's kind of like funny. But I think the majority are probably people that have a genuine interest in what he's saying somehow. And as wild as that is. So there's a halo behind him that's kind of like, to show his sort of holiness, but also it's sort of a QAnon thing because he does that on his show. He has like a Q behind him that's kind of a halo. Because he is he's also been sort of interested in the QAnon topic over the last 5 or 6 years. Even since it fell apart, he's still kind of following it. Poor David. He doesn't know what he's doing, man. All right, so we got David's halo here. Let's tighten up this hand a little bit. But anyway, he does these live streams and he gets these super chats. And sometimes people will give him a super chat for like, $200 or something. That's crazy. Okay. We're probably going to need a little more white out as well. I like this turkey over here. He's hilarious. Okay. All right, let's Let's see. What do I want to do? Just a little more texture there. Alright, let's give this alien's eyes a little glaze here. Oh, also David uses a mask that looks like this. So this isn't the kind of alien he generally talks about. But he does do a character that he calls Galian, which is him wearing an alien mask doing a sort of stereotypically, effeminate voice. He's a strange guy, like I said. All right. All right, here we go. Got our turkey here. Okay. So we got to erase this. And let's see, what can we do? Maybe just some little circle type guys or something. Yeah, that could work. We'll do that. Who doesn't love a sequined jacket? What a journey, though, huh? He was even a producer on some episodes of Ancient Aliens, I believe, back in his heyday. But lately, he just seems to be in a lot of trouble. Alright, getting that jacket filled in nicely. Like so. Alright, I think we're going to do some zips, man. Let's do some zips real quick. Oh, you know what though? First, I just want to tighten up these letters a tiny bit more. Yeah, you know, it's like a little bit cool, but also kind of a little bit dorky. That's very David. Okay. Also, I'm gonna just fix up these highlights a little bit here. Sparkles. If my pen will work, what's going on? Well, this is the 1. This 1 is no good. Where's my 2 at? There he is. Okay. All right. Now we can try some screen tones. All right. I want this one. Maybe that one. And this might come in handy. Let's see. Oh, you know what? I need a little bit of white on there first. This coating on this dog didn't really work out. Gotta fix that up. Sometimes it bleeds a little bit. Dude, it has been so hot here though, man. Today the weather finally broke. I could see those clouds building up and I was like, oh yeah. Oh yeah. I knew we weren't going to have a week straight of no rain and 90 degrees. It just don't happen here. But it was enough of it for sure. All right. Got the Michael prophecies here. David's new book. Don't leave home without it. That hand is still driving me crazy. All right, good enough, good enough. Okay. Now we're gonna do a big no-no and just start doing zips right on top of this stuff. I think what I need is do these guys first. Darn, I thought that would fit the turkey. Might fit the dog. Yeah, that'll fit the dog. wife was using my X-Acto knife to like cut tile or something yesterday. I was like, what are you doing? I didn't use it very much, she said. I was like, well, it kind of dulls the blade. It's all good though. I got plenty of blades. When you live with an artist as well, there's a lot of stealing each other's tools. I definitely take her stuff sometimes. That's a good boy. There's a good boy. Or a good girl, I should say. I just realized I forgot to fill in under that wing. No, that's not where you go. So I think I want to put a tone on his skin. He oftentimes has like, you know, makeup on for his streams, make him look a little orange. Okay. Need something a little lighter, which I don't know if I have. Oh. These things, man. All right. Here we go. That might work. The other reason I like working at this 6x9 scale is that I can use the scraps of my zips a little more instead of having to use a whole sheet all the time. Look at this guy. What a dork. Okay. Let's deal with these hands. Oh. 2 more. All right. The Scaredy Cat. What's up, Tyrell? What's up, Scaredy Cat? I believe you were at Heroes. Hope that was a fun time. Looks like everyone was having a great time. Hopefully you all made some scratch too. Rudy Vella. Hey Tyrell, I'm late. Confused. I thought maybe you were drawing this for him as a commission, or maybe he was a friend of yours or something. You met me at C2E2. Well, thanks, man. Well, this is a drawing of David Wilcock, who is sort of a UFO conspiracy theory celebrity. And my new book, which I'm releasing at Cake this weekend, called Prophets of Disclosure, is all about these UFO people. And so David is one of those people. So that's why I'm drawing him. He's the last one to be drawn for the book. And I'll be printing it this week and have it at Cake this weekend. So it's sort of my guide to some of the key figures. And I'm calling it Volume 1 because I feel like there's a lot more people I could be talking about. But I only had time to do a small number for this little zine. So it's just a small little zine. It'll be at Cake. I'm very excited about it. David Wilcock is probably my favorite of these UFO people. He's very entertaining and sort of a goofball. I mean, he's completely insane, but fun to watch. We're going to finish this drawing up and then call it a night. I think we got maybe one more screen tone to do after this, and then we'll see what it looks like. Always a blast at that show, says Scaredy Cat. Looking forward to next year. That's great. It is a show that really gets your spirits up, you know? And thanks again, Rudy, for picking up some of my zines, man. I appreciate it. That's very cool. If you're anywhere near Chicago this weekend, I will be at Cake, so come on out for that show. I'll have the new zine. I'll have some old stuff. I'll have, I don't know, whatever I got over here. You know, whatever you want, I'll have it. No, it's a fun show. Cake is always stacked. It's always just got like the most cutting edge, interesting comic artists out there. And it's always fun. Always a good show. I always end up discovering some new people at the show and having a really good time. And if you've never been to a show like Cake, I highly recommend it. You know, independent shows are way different from, say, a show like C2E2. And, you get lots of different kinds of work. You get to see sort of a different side of comics and different viewpoints. Really fun. All right. Let's scratch a little. You guys ready for this? Of course, my blade is dead now. I love my wife, though. I really do. Oh, it's driving me crazy. It's driving me crazy. Rudy, if I have any left after if I have any of this new mini comic left after Cake, I will be making them available to newsletter subscribers first. So if you haven't subscribed to the newsletter yet, do that. And then if there's any left after that, I'll put them up in the shop. Ooh, down to like 2 more blades here, guys. Probably because I can't use them more than 5 minutes. They are blades that are probably 25 years old, though, so I can't really blame them for not being perfect all the time. I have a big bunch of blades stuck up over there. I gotta get rid of those. Not the safest thing, Tyrell. That's better. Much better. Gonna highlight David's forehead here a little bit. There he is. There he is. All right. How's that for everybody's ears? Is that good? What kind of dog is that? What kind of dog is that? He's a good boy. That reminds me, I gotta let my dog out shortly here. Okay, let's wrap this up. Let's get this last bit of zip on here. Just subscribe to the newsletter. Awesome, Rudy. Thank you, buddy. You had me dying when you called him a dork. Such an underutilized classic. Well, you know. That's my favorite kind of thing, is underutilized classics. All right. Are we gonna just do it with this one? Let's just do it with this one. Let's just do it. See if we can make this coat sizzle. with a zip tone. Brandon Mullins, was that an Aesop Rock reference? What kind of dog is that? He's a good boy. Yes, I am an unabashed Aesop Rock fan. So if you guys are out there too, you know, represent. Yeah, I really like Aesop Rock. Really liked his new record so far. Black Hole Superette has been really fun. I was listening to it earlier. I really like that song, John something. I think his name was John something. Dude, yes. Yeah, Aesop's the king. I like Costco, that's another good one. Red Phone is pretty rad. John something, of course. Slug, what is it? Snail Zero, or Snail One, whatever that one's called. Snail Zero. That one's pretty good too. Oh, shnikes. Yes, unlike most comic book artists, I have good taste in music. Just kidding, just kidding. Brandon loves it. That's my man. That's my man, Brandon. I knew you were one of the good ones. I knew it. I said Brandon is one of the good ones. Okay, guys, we're almost there. Tyrell will officially be done drawing this zine. Okay, there's the Michael prophecies. Let's get super chats out of there. Brandon says he's always been awesome, but he's really consistent the past 5 years or so. I totally agree. I think that, I mean, my favorite record by him is probably Impossible Kid, and I feel like everything he's done since then has been solid. You know, like his solos at least. The collabs have been really good too, but the solos especially have just been solid. You know, Spirit World Field Guide, and I really liked ITS. I thought ITS was extremely good. I even was getting a little bit into that Malibu Ken record, which I had never really liked before, but this year it kind of hit me different. It was kind of a fun collab. There's that song on there, Sword Swallower or something I think it's called. That's such a good track. I know Aesop's not for everybody though. He's pretty specific. So I don't hold it against you if you don't like him. Just don't tell me you like Kanye or something like that. You know, like, don't be stupid. Okay, these pieces don't want to unstick from my fingers here. Probably because it's about 100 degrees. Alright. Brunson, yo, Brunson, yo. Yo's all around. Getting these sparkles out first. And then I might work a little bit into the jacket. Good man, Brandon. Good man. All right. I think what we need to do is fade the collar here a little bit. Like that. Ah, come on. Stay down. Stay down. Darn it. Oh well. It'll be fine. So let's see if we can zazzle this a little bit here. Okay, yeah. Oh yeah, that's what I'm talking about right there. That's what I'm talking about. Yeah. That's a sizzle jacket now. There we go. Got our fireflies out there now. Kind of digging that. My daughter was excited about them this year. We hadn't seen very many yet, but I'm starting to see them popping out. Last year she wanted to see them, but she was too scared to catch them. This year maybe I'll see if she will. We'll let them go, of course. Oh yeah, I'm liking that, guys. I'm liking that a lot. I didn't think that would work so well. Pleasantly surprised. Okay, the turkey and the alien need something. So let's just use this sheet because it's out. Let's start with the turkey. Turkey, turkey, turkey. That's what he says. David has a little turkey chant song that he does. It's kind of silly. Hey, it's Edison. What's up, man? So it looks like you're a little late. That's okay. We're going late. We got to finish this guy tonight. So, you know, I can't stop until he's done. Which should be not too long, actually. I hope, because I am tired and sweaty. And I want to go have like a brownie or something. But Edison, good to see ya. Did I miss something here? Brunson, just did my first show at Heroes this year with your publisher. Awesome, dude. Congratulations. Had a great time and sold out of one of your books. Dude, that is so awesome. Congratulations, Brunson. Getting you guys hooked up. Okay, Brandon says, looks good. By the way, you think you'll be doing CXC this year? I am not going to be at CXC this year. I did it last year, and that's just not a show I think I can do every year. But it's an awesome show, and visiting the Billy Ireland is something I might do even if I don't do the show. If you are in the Columbus area, though, I'm trying to put together with my friend Marina maybe a little tour visit when my Eris book is done, or when I have the books in hand and I've delivered all the Kickstarter rewards. I'm thinking about doing an event in Columbus, like a reading or something and a signing. So if any of you guys are in that area and you think that sounds cool, let me know. And maybe I'm going to try to make that happen sometime in the fall if I do it. I guess it would make sense to do it around CXC, but we'll just have to see what happens. Okay, so the turkey's here. We're not going to do a lot on the turkey. We're going to keep him pretty basic. He's just a turkey, so we don't need to go crazy. It's just a turkey, everybody. It's just a turkey. Oh. Come on, yeah. Okay, there's the turkey. And, now that I did the turkey, first things first, he needs rubbed out. The tone is too close to the color on David. So we're going to use our sand eraser to kind of thin that out a little bit. See? Pops his elbow out. Let's use it on the top of the dog over here too. Cool little trick. All right, and let's do the alien. Heck, let's just use this scrap to do the alien. Nothing against that, right? No rules to say I can't do that. All right. I think his name was John something. John something. Okay, the guitar and then we out. Go a little darker on the guitar. Pop that wing and the logo out a little bit more. Whew. Guys, I'm dying over here. It is so hot. Ooh, that's nice. There we go. Perfect. Okay. Let's show it here. Sign it. I think that works. There's Davy boy. Oh, come on. There we go. So if you come to Cake this weekend, Irish American Heritage Museum here in Chicago, you can be the first ones to get your hands on Prophets of Disclosure, which will feature this drawing, amongst others, that I showed earlier in the stream. And I hope you guys will come check it out. The show is a lot of fun. And I hope that everybody will come on out for it. But yeah, let's see, who did I miss here? Eli. Cool. Yes, we're still going, although I do need to go now. But thank you everybody for tuning in. I just realized it's almost 11 o'clock. I do have to go. But everyone have a great night, and welcome back to everyone from Heroes and